do Big 12 Big East preview next. This is the Big 12 Big East battle. They love alliteration, I guess. We had the ACC SEC challenge. Well, now we have the Big East Big 12 battle. There are 11 games in this series, and I'm honestly pretty confused how it works. This isn't like a Monday, Tuesday type thing. Games for this start tomorrow on Thursday, and then they run through the end of next week. So this is like a 7-day event, all scattered throughout. Teams from both conferences are playing games against other teams in the middle of it. It's just all, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel like an event, even though it's listed as the Big East Big 12 battle. So let's go game by game, just give a quick prediction. We don't need to spend too much time on it. You and I actually just did 2 previews for the first 2 games of this event. So let's start with Texas Tech and Butler. Actually, you know what? Let's not even give our 2 away. Texas Tech, Butler, and Creighton, Oklahoma State. Go watch the previews if you want our answers. We gave a prediction in both of those videos. Moving to game 3 in this series, Iowa State at DePaul. Who do you got?
I got DePaul coach getting fired after this game because I think Iowa State's going to handle it. That's my prediction.
I don't think it's the craziest prediction ever. I will say I'm very underwhelmed with Iowa State right now. And I know like the numbers look okay. In the end, a close loss to Texas Tech on a neutral isn't that bad. Blowing a 21-point lead to a Texas A&M team without Radford and Coleman is one of the worst losses I think any team will have this season, just situationally. Lipsy, I think, is very good. I still don't, for some reason, I don't like him. And I don't mean that personally. I just like, if my team's everything was Lipsy, I wouldn't feel great about that for some reason. I just don't trust him in big spots against good opponents. Luckily for him, DePaul's not a big spot or a big opponent. So Iowa State should win this game comfortably. I'm with you. Game number 2, Houston at Xavier. Houston is the number 1 team, according to our friend Ken Palm right now, on the road against Sean Miller in a bounce back spot after the loss to Oakland. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know if Xavier was looking ahead from the Oakland disaster to this game, but Houston's guards are just simply better. And I think we can have a conversation about whether or not Xavier's guards are really actually good, those mid-major transfers. I think the Cougars should handle this one. It's arguably their first true test, because I do think Xavier's better than Dayton, but it should be a fairly easy one. I would be surprised on both ends if this was close.
Yeah, I don't think it's as much like Xavier was looking ahead. I just think Xavier's not that good. And it pains me to say, because I really like Sean Miller. It shouldn't be that surprising given the Hunter and Fremantle stuff. Like, they just don't have all their dogs. But Des Claude is not as good as I think he needs to be given the rest of the roster right now. Still a good player, but he's not like a transcendent, can carry you every single night when he doesn't get a lot of help guy. And Houston just has more depth. They have more talent. They have more physicality. I think they wear down Xavier pretty quickly in this game, maybe jump on him early. The only thing I would say, Xavier hung around against Purdue. So talk about like tough teams they've played. They're the only team in the country that's played teams as good as Houston and Purdue back to back or within a month. And I thought they would have gotten blown out in Mackey. They didn't get blown out in Mackey. So maybe there is something to big game Sean Miller here, but I'll take Houston relatively comfortable here as well. 2 game number 5 in this series, UConn at Kansas. This is my favorite game of the entire non-conference slate. Who do you like here?
Honestly, and this might be a surprise, I think this one enters blowout territory quickly. I think UConn torches Kansas because if Klingon just handles Dickinson and just makes them have an inefficient night, UConn just has too many scores, too many weapons that can go off. And asking McCullough to keep them in, as long as UConn, keeps him at bay, then I don't see how Kansas is going to score. Maybe they themselves were looking ahead to this game because they struggled against Eastern Illinois. I think this could be a 20-plus point game. If I gave a score prediction, I think this one's going to be on national news for like 85 to 60.
Wow. Okay. Are you out on Kansas like long term then too, or just in their current state?
If they don't get Bryson Tucker, then I'm out on them long term because you're getting almost the best from Dickinson and McCullough, and that's still not enough to handily beat teams you're supposed to. They only got 4 good players, and I don't think McDowell and Furphy are going to come along and fast enough for them to be a true Final Four contender.
Yeah, this feels like a 4-on-5 game. Obviously, it's at Fog Allen. It'll be a crazy environment. And honestly, I think Kansas will feel a little desperate here. I'm excited to see Hunter go up against someone his own size. I'll just say that. Clingan is a monster, and I think Clingan is like foaming at the mouth to play a good center right now because they're kind of quietly under the radar, even though they're the champs. They haven't played a big game yet. Kansas has played a bunch of big games. There's been good results, there's been bad results, but I'm with you. I think UConn wins this game.
Yeah, I think Clingan, he went for 29 in the past game, but no one's talked about him yet in the National Player of the Year race, which is what was the offseason talk. Like, this is the perfect opportunity for him on both ends to show that he should be in that conversation.
Yeah. So here's my formal prediction. I'm not going to go as far as you and say it's like a 25-point blowout, but my formal prediction is this. I think Kansas gets a stellar Hunter Dickinson performance, like the best game of Hunter Dickinson's career. And I think they lose by 15 points. We'll see. They just don't have enough outside of him.
How many points? Over under 6 points for DeJuan Harris.
Under. Man's terrified of his own shadow. Except he's not. When he's not afraid, he's afraid. That's how he plays. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. And if they could trade, honestly, Kansas fans will probably jump on me. If they could trade DeJuan Harris for like a score first guard to a team that just needs like a maestro puppet master, everyone would get so much better. I don't know what the perfect trade is. I need to think on that, but like he just doesn't make sense. They need a scorer in that spot.
I mean, this game would be the perfect trade. You give Kansas Tristan Newton and you give UConn DeJuan Harris with Cam Spencer and Alex Caravan, all the other scorers they have. Both of those teams will arguably be two of the top 3 teams in the country.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. The only thing I would say is I think UConn fans are going to kill you for saying that they would want DeJuan Harris over Tristan Newton. I think he's just
I think it would be an even swap if they had to do it, if you want to look at that trade. But like UConn's going to be a contender regardless. And look, Harris's defense alone makes him very valuable, and his passing ability. So it certainly wouldn't be a down trade for them. I think it will work for both ends. But I think roster construction wise, UConn is very happy with what they have.
Yeah, I think you're right. For the record, I want to go on record speaking for me personally. Tristan Newton is a way better basketball player than DeJuan Harris, is what it is. Moving on, we have 6 more games left. St. John's at West Virginia. Your thoughts?
This could be the ultimate, okay, what are y'all doing, St. John's? Because they should be able to handily beat West Virginia. They basically have Jesse Edwards and a bunch of guys who are trying their best. Still no Kirk Risa, still no Raekwon Battle. They've struggled against Bellarmine the past week. Like, St. John's has just so much more firepower. Soriano and Edwards should cancel each other out, and that means that St. John's has the advantage the rest of the way. This should easily be a 10 to 15 point blowout. If it's even close, then we're going to have to start talking about whether or not St. John's really is mediocre.
I think West Virginia wins, and I don't know why. I think St. John's is the better team. Yeah, I don't know why. I can't shake it. I think this St. John's team is going to have wild swings all season long, from like look great to look so miserable. And this feels like a spot where it's so miserable. I like Ledlam's going to probably have to do stuff in this game. Don't like that whatsoever. And there's kind of some similarities here, right? Like messy offseason, bunch of new faces, but this one's in Morgantown. I'll take the home team and hope that there's been some bourbon drank by the fans.
Are you saying that Rick Pitino is going to get out-coached by an interim former assistant coach in Josh Eiler?
No, but I'm saying I think Rick Pitino could coach them masterfully and they could still lose this game. I think that's how bad the roster. I don't like the roster. I think they got issues. We'll see. Okay, TCU at Georgetown. By the way, we're going through this. This is supposed to be like, I feel pretty strong. This is the best 2 conferences in college basketball, at least the top. The top of the Big 12, top of the Big East, in my opinion, is the strongest 2 conferences in college basketball. And we're going through these games, and there are some ugly games I have no interest in watching. One of them being TCU at Georgetown. What do you think?
Yeah, we still don't know. We still don't know anything about TCU because they played a whole bunch of bye games and a bunch of bad opponents. This is basically a road bye game. Like Georgetown has looked awful. They may or may not. I've seen some online tweets hinting that Ishmael Massoud could potentially be close to returning. They need him. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not Jayden Epps can drop 30 and keep them in the game. Like TCU actually has some decent guards. I just don't see Jamie Dixon losing to a roster like this. Like TCU should win comfortably.
Yeah, I
if
agree.
not, then they're really not good.
I wholeheartedly agree. Also, I think Epps has been fine. I don't think Epps has been as good as I thought he would be. So TCU's the better roster.
I'm not blaming anything on Epps because he has a supporting cast that's just not like he has no choice but to.
Yeah, you're right. I do think this could be another fun Ed Cooley press conference. I'm excited to keep watching those as the season gets drearier and drearier for him. Okay, 4 more. This one is great. I kind of wish we were saving it for last, but we're going in chronological order here. Texas at Marquette. Rodney Terry, Shaka Smart against his old program. He gets to be at home instead of going on the road here, though. Marquette looks great. Texas has been kind of iffy. They were in a dogfight with Louisville. What do you like?
I think this matchup goes very well nicely for Marquette. I still don't know if Kadeem Cedric's going to play in this game or not. Dylan Disu's not going to be back, but also Ighodaro has really had his breakout tournament in Maui. Cam Jones, Tyler Kolek, the big question for me is going to be whether or not Max Abmas start getting some talk because he has just been wildly inefficient as a volume scorer. They lucked out because Ithiel Horton has been really good off the bench, sort of replacing Serge Rice in that role. Tyrese Hunter's been okay. Dylan Mitchell's been okay. Okay, it's not going to be good enough to win on the road at Marquette. Like, I think Marquette should win by 8-10. But this could be blowout territory if Max Abmas has another 6 for 17 type game.
Yeah, I think this is like one that means something to Shaka. And the other thing, like, okay, they're off the Purdue loss. Probably want to come back with a statement win. Good opportunity against the Texas team, I think just isn't where they need to be right now. By the end of the year, I still believe in Texas. Right now, based on everything we've seen, I think this team is pretty not great. Like, I don't think this is a top 25 team in the country right now, caliber-wise, at least until Abmas figures it out and adjusts to the speed that is needed of him in this offense with this team. So give me Marquette big. Don't feel great about that, but I think it has to be the play here. 3 more. Providence at Oklahoma. Porter Moser's boys look good thus far this season. Kind of sneaky, quietly a serious team here. Do you think the Sooners get this done at home?
I do. I think a lot of the pieces he added on one hand didn't seem to fit. Like, I didn't know what he would do with former Pitt big man John Hughley, but he has some a quality option off the bench. I mean, Tego Ugwe has been really good as a sophomore guy. Javion McCollum, the Siena transfer, has been really good. Not Jalen Pickett good, but has been really good for them leading the way. And Porter Moser, regardless of the talent, is consistently one of the top coaches in college basketball. There's some talk in the offseason that maybe he could move on. If I'm Oklahoma, I do whatever it takes to keep him because you're not going to find a better option than him. And then Providence has still been fairly good. I mean, they've had some injuries and they had the little brawl suspension without point guard, but Josh Oduro has been really good. I think that matchup inside is going to be fun. Bryce Hopkins, Devin Carter has been playing at an all-conference level for him. This will be a pretty nice matchup for Kim English because if he can get this win, there'll be a nice, personal victory for him over Porter Moser.
I like Providence here. I think they're going to pull the upset. KenPom has them 6-point underdogs. I think this will open up more like, I don't know, maybe 5.5. And I could see it being bet either way, to be honest with you. I like Providence on paper. I like their guys. I think they are very physical. I think they have a very good defense. I think you don't get anything easy when you play them. I think Bryce Hopkins and Devin Carter collectively are one of the stronger, tougher duos that we're going to see on teams that aren't elite teams this season. And I think Oklahoma, give them credit. They were great in Feast Week. Iowa and USC, both teams that, those are resume wins. I don't think either of those teams are particularly tough. right now. I think those are teams, if like Oklahoma shows up and hits them in the mouth, they kind of look around scared for a little bit. Providence is going to do that. If you hit these dudes in the mouth, they're going to like literally potentially punch you and get suspended for it. I think there's going to be a little bit of a wake up call physically for Oklahoma in this game, and maybe a come back to earth moment, and Providence gets a really big road win. That's just me saying I don't trust Oklahoma, basically, while trying to praise Providence a ton. There are 2 games left here. Villanova at Kansas State should be a fun one. 2 teams that I would use the F word on, Tristan. I think they're both a bit fraudulent right now.
Yeah, Kansas State just the other night needed overtime to get past Oral Roberts. And their defense has been fairly poor. I mean, offensively, Tyler Perry and Arthur Kaluma has been fine. Cameron Carter, the guard, is sort of had a breakout campaign, but they have next to no offensive weapons outside of them. And you could argue with Villanova that outside of Eric Dixon and Justin Moore, that those transfers have struggled as well. It probably is going to come down to which star duo has it. But this is the game where if you're Hakeem Hart, if you're Tyler Burton or TJ Bamba, you need them to have a big game, because if you can't score on Kansas State's defense, then you're just going to struggle, period, in Big East play. So Villanova should win. Villanova kind of has to win. I'm not worried about them as a postseason team, but now we have to have a conversation. Are they good enough to do anything? And some people argue that they should be in the conversation for top tier team in the Big East. This is the kind of game where they have to win, and we need to start seeing something out of these transfers, because even if they're just going to be role players, you still should be better than 8 points on 2 of 7 shooting, which is what these guys have been. So I am curious to see who starts to become that third option for them, because Eric Dixon going for 30 a game isn't going to win enough for them long term.
Yeah, this is how I feel about this game. I think Villanova is the better team. I have major concerns with Kansas State. I don't think Tyler Perry is close to the caliber that they needed to fill Marquise Noel's absence. I also think Arthur Kaluma is arguably further away from Keontae Johnson than Tyler Perry is from Marquise Noel. And they tried to just do the plug and play thing, and it's not going to work. That's not these guys' games. It's going to take Tang some time to figure it out. I trust Jerome Tang. I think by the end of the year, he will figure it out. But with all that said, I'm taking Kansas State to win this game for a lot of the same reasons I like Arkansas tonight against Duke. Depending on when you watch this preview, that might look really stupid. I think Duke's better than Arkansas in every way. I think Villanova is better than Kansas State in essentially every way. But this is a weird spot game for them. Kansas State's going to be desperate. They're going to feel like they need a resume win. It's at home. That's how Arkansas is right now. Villanova's 0 for 1 on road games this year. They lost to the Palestra to Penn. I get it. It's the Palestra, but they looked like a totally different team on the road than they did on a neutral or at home. Until we see them perform a little better, I think there could be some ghosts there. And I think Kansas State, when desperate, still has the high-end talent to beat a team whose best player is Eric Dixon. So I'll take Kansas State in a big-time spot there. And then the final one here, Seton Hall at Baylor. I wish this was going to be a more fun game. I think Baylor's going to destroy them. What do you think?
I wish this was Baylor at Seton Hall, because I think that would have been more intriguing. Seton Hall just doesn't have the offensive firepower to keep up. Like Kadori Richmond has been fairly good. Alamir Dawes is a good player. I just, especially inside the Seton Hall bigs haven't been overly impressive, and I think Baylor's front court is going to have their way. So I have a feeling that Bears is going to comfortably win this one.
Yeah, they just scored 108 points in their last game against Nichols when we're recording this. Jacoby Walter had 2 points in that game. Like, how do you have enough power for Jacoby Walter to play 28 minutes and your team still scores 106 points without him? I've never seen anything like that. Scott Drew's a force to be reckoned with. These guards individually are all way better than I anticipated they would be. And Ray J. Dennis heard me talk about how I don't trust him as a facilitator. He had 10 assists and 2 turnovers last game. So I think all these guys are getting more comfortable. They just got so much depth, so much talent, so much quickness, so much speed, so much shooting. I think this is one of the best teams in the country. And unfortunately for Seton Hall, there's not going to be any sort of answer to keep up there. So, all right, there you have it. There's your Big 12 Big East battle preview. I feel like I should have put another B on that. Thanks, Tristan. That was fun. If we tally that up, who won? Do we know?
I have a feeling the way the matchups went went down. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it might have been a split. Might have been 6-5 either way.
Yeah.
Whole lot of potential blowouts though.
Good old fashioned 6-5 split. We're not a math podcast, okay? It's not easy.
Well, we'll win by one, same thing.